and welcome to not another episode of Lexx Education, because it's better than another episode. It's a special episode. It's a guest episode of Lexx Education. Obviously, I always have one guest, Ron.
Guest?
Yeah.
It's quite rude, actually.
Guest, here at my invitation and expelled as soon as he plays up. Hello, Ron.
Hello, I'm Ron. How's it going, Laura?
Oh, what?
I said, how's it going, Laura? Sorry.
Oh, it's good, except for we were just discussing, I've just pushed sun cream into my eye. That stings. But it was either that or my eye just itched. And yesterday they itched so much that all the whites went red and I looked like a little vampire. It was horrible. Ron's not the only guest today, though. Ron, it's a special episode.
Special episode. Happy 2 years. 2 year birthday to us.
2 year birthday to us.
Happy birthday. That's a party plot blower.
Party plot blower. We love party plot blowers.
I was going to say party, like, but then I was like, I don't know what I'm trying to go with. What word would that have been? Party
Party plosive sound
plosive.
maker.
Yeah, there we go.
Party plosive.
I like party plot blower.
Sure.
I think that's what we've got, a party plot blower. It's Bec Hill, everybody.
Yay. It's me, you guys.
Hi. Thanks so much for coming on our silly podcast.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I kind of feel like you're my mate and I've snuck into your school for a day. And I'm like, it's so different from my school.
Yeah.
Because my brother is a maths teacher. And yeah, so this is not a new feeling for me, being schooled by my own little brother.
Yeah.
Is he rude to you in the same way?
I would say in a brotherly love kind of way.
Not the same way, then. Okay.
Ron, you do love me. You do. Ron, our contract for the podcast says you have to love me.
I think the fact that Ron agreed to do a podcast is already, that's proof of love, proof of concept right there.
Yeah.
It's never enough,
You can deny it all you want, Ron, but the more you show up, the more you're proving it.
Yeah, no, I think getting it in writing might help, though. That would just be irrefutable, and it could stop some of the pissing and moaning that Laura does a lot of the time.
I'd still have to check, though, that the contract's still held up, though, so you'd have to send me a written copy every day.
Okay.
And after each recording if we'd had an argument. Okay, well, listen, now that we've got my neediness out of the way for a minute, Ron, do you still love me?
Yep.
Yes! Okay. Bec, talk to us about how you feel. Yes! I'm so loved, listeners. Everybody has to say out loud right now, still love you, Laura.
Still love you, Laura.
How do you feel about science?
Like in general, I came to it late in life. I'm like you. So in school, I found a loophole that meant that if I started, so we have like year 10, like we go up to year 12. We don't do like it's not called like A levels or anything, but year 12 is like the furthest you can go in high school. And I found out in year 10 that if you switched to computer sciences, you didn't have to do one of the three main, like you didn't have to do biology, chemistry or physics.
Ooh.
Which meant that I could still get like the right scores to go through to year 12, but I didn't have to do the parts that I found very boring. And
so much more employable.
Well, computer science for me was very easy because that was at that sweet spot where the internet became a sort of accessible thing when I was about 12. And so we were all learning to use the internet at the same time, as well as like your general Microsoft Office type stuff. So a lot of the time we knew more than the teachers. So computer science was like the easiest subject to do because if you had a computer at home and a dad who works in IT like I did, then you, it was pretty easy. So
did you do a lot of clip art?
So much clip art. But then in maybe about 7 years ago, I reckon, 6 or 7 years ago, because I've always liked sci-fi as a subject. Mm-hmm. So I had an idea for a sci-fi sitcom that I wanted to pitch, and the more I sort of wrote it, the more I wanted like a lot of stuff to be built on fact. So then I started like going on a fact hunting thing about space and stuff, and then that led me down all these rabbit holes, and now that ended up with me asking Matt Parker, a fellow comedian but mathematician from the YouTubes, who goes by Stand Up Maths. I've been friends with him for many years, and I knew his wife was an astrophysicist, so I was asking for her help. But because of that, he and I ended up becoming closer and closer friends. So now we have a podcast where people send us maths problems and we try and solve them.
See, now we always find that the maths is the bit that we both die during, because it's not visual, we don't have fun describing it, and we both get nosebleeds. So was the hang on, I have a question going back to when you did computer science. What bit did you jettison then? Which one of the three did you choose to get rid of?
Oh, well, because it was general science that covered all three up until that point,
okay.
and then you had to choose one. And
That's
I had
what we
no
do,
interest in any
general
of them.
science.
Yeah. Now as an adult, I find myself covering sort of all topics, but wishing I knew more about all of them. And I've read so many more research papers as an adult than I ever thought. I never went to uni, but here I am in like my late 30s reading like research papers and
being a maths lady.
And yeah, well, I wouldn't say I am. I would say that I'm more interested in finding out about it. The nice thing about it's like you guys with your show. It's because I don't know anything about maths that much. Matt, like, I have to understand what he's trying to explain, and fortunately, he's very good at explaining in layman's terms. So, and if I don't understand, I will say, I don't follow. I don't understand. And so we try and find a middle ground. I work very well with analogies. So quite often it's me going, is it like if you were entering the lottery, but then 20 other people were entering? And then he'll either go, yes, that's it. Or he'll go, kind of, which is Matt speak for no, but well done for trying. Let's try again.
Yeah,
So what we do is if I don't understand, we just scream at each other for a while.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That the big difference between their podcast and ours, Laura, is that Matt is a very skilled communicator. I'm a fan, by the way. I'm just playing it very cool. And also, they like each other a lot more than we do.
No, but we love each other deeply.
I don't know if I would say that.
It's a lot more patience.
Yeah.
That's
so
all on
it's
Matt's
Ron's
side.
fault.
That is all on Matt's side.
What we're saying. Okay, so Bec, do you want to talk us through your subject? So I messaged you and I said, please will you come on for our 2nd year anniversary just before we teeter into 3rd year? How exciting. In fact, this is the first episode of 3rd year, isn't it? Our 2-year anniversary. And I said, what are you interested in? And you were like, I love space. And I was like, sorry, mate, Dara O'Brien beat you to space.
Fair.
You can't do space 2 years in a row, otherwise all of our anniversaries will be space. And there's probably enough space science to do space again, but I thought we probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I said, what else do you like? What did you say, Bec?
I said teeth. I find teeth very fascinating.
Which I just love, that your two scientific interests are space and teeth. Like, one couldn't be further away from your face, and the other one is in it.
Literally right under your nose. Yep.
What do you love about teeth?
I don't know. I've just always been fascinated by them. It's probably because I had to have a lot of like dental work as a kid. Like I had the Big Book of British Smiles, like that episode of Simpsons, and they're like showing, they show Lisa what her teeth will look like if they go unchecked, and they're like goes right through her skull and comes out the other side. That's kind of what my teeth were like. Like they were really, really crooked, very like, and really growing in weird directions. So I had like a plate, like a retainer.
Yeah.
And then I had braces, and I've had wires behind my teeth since the braces came off. And I've just always found them really interesting. They're bones that we shed. And I think that's fascinating. Like in terms of our baby teeth, I've broken teeth. It's a horrible feeling. there's just, I don't know, there's something very visceral about teeth. That when you lose a baby tooth, you don't think of it as being traumatic, but as an adult, you can still remember the feeling of a wobbly tooth, of getting your tongue under the bottom. You can remember the feeling of the gum when there's no tooth there. Like, you hold on to that feeling for the rest of your life, which is insane because there's so many things that happen when you're younger that you wouldn't really remember the feeling of or what that was like. But you remember teeth. You remember losing teeth. And, and so then just before lockdown, actually, I put out a thing saying I want to be the adult tooth fairy. So there's the tooth fairy for children. But I was like, what if you're over 18 and you either the tooth fairy never took your baby teeth, or, you've still got them rattling around at home, or if you have a tooth extracted, why don't you get a reward for that? So I said, if anyone wants to sell me their teeth, I will. I'll pay £2 a tooth or £5 for extracted teeth, or like adult teeth, or a pint. And with the way inflation's going, that's actually a better deal, depending on where you live. Take the pint. So I've now bought teeth from a few people. I'm trying to... the last one, I was like, actually, I should interview them. So I'm trying to get into a habit of, like, when I buy teeth from people, I interview them, and one day I'll put it all together. But I'm also, like, there's... You know what it's like, Laura. You have 1,000 projects on the go at once, and you forget what you're doing.
I have to cut at this point, though, to Ron and ask for his thoughts because...
Do you have teeth you want to sell?
No, we have backstory on teeth.
I'm so excited.
Because when Mackie, my dog's teeth fell out, kept them all. I gathered up all these tiny little puppy teeth and I kept them all and I had them in a little jar. And then when Ron discovered that I had done this, he threw them away out of a window and called me a horrible old witch.
Wow.
That's not completely true. I made you throw them away. I made you go through the process of doing that.
Wow.
And I stand by it because you're keeping a jar of dog's teeth on the mantelpiece. Like, it wasn't like squirreled away in where sentimental things should be. They were pride of place.
That's more reason to not throw it out. It's on display. I don't come around your house and throw your pictures out the window.
No, if I've got a jar of dirty, rotten specks, I would thank you for throwing them away.
I loved them. And now I've found people make them into jewellery.
Them.
I could have worn Mackie's teeth as a little necklace or earrings.
Yeah. I think that was the thing that tipped me over into becoming the adult tooth fairy, because my mum came to visit and she broke a tooth while she was here, like eating a salad, weirdly. I don't know what was in the salad, but something like, it was her back molar. And it was one of the molars that had... like a little bit of gold filling attached. And I was like, can I have it? Because I was like, that'd be a really cool thing to put on a pendant. Like, it's got a bit of gold and it's my mum's. And I was like, I feel connected. And she wouldn't let me have it and thought I was being silly. But I still think that it would have been a really nice thing.
I think at this point it might be apropos to do 2 episodes of this podcast. You guys crack on. You can nerd out about teeth. I'll make another one with your mum. We can talk about how they're icky.
The way you worded it sounds like you and my mum have been meeting in secret to do podcasting. Good for Sue. I'm glad she's getting some.
Ron, is there no one that you love enough that you'd wear their teeth?
Like, if I had to, sure. Like, if it stopped them from getting leprosy or something, then sure, I'd wear a tooth. But I just, I don't know how we've gotten from, they're bones that live outside in your mouth. They hang from your lips like bats. But
outside bones.
We should be wearing them as jewellery. We don't do that with fingernails.
You're already wearing them as mouth jewellery.
Yeah, they're basically already natural jewellery. You show them off when you're happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't do it with, fingernails or the dust that you get out of pet eggs. I just don't know why teeth would be...
Oh, did I ever tell you the story of that? I think it was one of older sister of the podcast's friends who found her baby eating the contents of her pet egg.
Oh.
Yeah, that is rank.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not advocating we eat the teeth.
No, but I think I've definitely eaten one of my teeth before, because a wobbly tooth came out while I was having a Snickers bar and I never found it. I think I swallowed that one.
You
I
need
mean,
to
I
chew
hope it
more.
came out at some point.
What did you say, Ron?
I said you need to chew more if there could be a tooth in your Snickers.
Yeah,
and
that's
you
true.
didn't
Yeah, how did you
realise.
not notice a lump that big?
Oh, you know, one chew, swallow. One chew, swallow. That's my rule. I don't care what I'm eating.
One chew.
Soup or a sweet.
You eat them all like oysters, don't you? Everything. Down the hat, down the collar.
I carry around a load of oyster shells, and everything I'm eating, I just put it in an oyster shell, Tabasco on it, throw it down.
Yeah, you shuck
Yep.
your Snickers out of the wrapper and...
I'm a rotten horror.
I am starting to realise that I might be in the minority about the teeth thing, though, because I had a tooth out at the end of last year, first time I've ever had that done, and he had to split it into 3 bits, like the 3 different roots to pull it out, and he showed me each individual bit as he did it, and I was just like, yeah, okay, why? Like, this is a really viscerally horrible experience. Please stop involving me in it. Yeah.
What are your feelings about like blackhead removal or pimple popping or ear cleaning, that sort of stuff?
That's better. I don't watch them online, but I think I do understand the draw of that.
Do you not find that I've had lots of teeth out over the years, because I had teeth very similar sounding to Bec's as a child, and seeing the root stuff was always really cool.
No, I think if it lives in the gums, leave it there. That's my mantra.
Okay. Okay.
Which is very specific mantra, but it's not done you wrong so far.
Yeah, specific and simple.
Well, shall we move on to some teeth facts then? Because I'm very excited by all the research I've done about
Spill the teeth, Laura.
So, Ron has looked at the history of teeth, tooth evolution. Is that right, Ron?
That's what you asked me to do, and I didn't really do that.
God. You literally texted me before we started, though, and said you had done that.
No, I said I'd kind of done that. So the thing about talking about evolution is that, like, sure, we could sit around and be like, well, how did teeth evolve? Well, they were at first not a lot like teeth, and then they were a bit more like teeth, and now guess what? They're teeth. So what I actually did was I've looked into mammal teeth, because mammals are quite unique for having what's called very extreme dentition. It's kind of unique to us as a thing. So, like, if you look in like a lizard's mouth or something, all of those teeth are basically the same. Like, they'll all just be like sharp pointers, whereas, you know, we've got incisors
Sharp
and molars
pointers
and
is a very,
canines and stuff.
Specific. I like that. Sharp pointers is now the
Sharp
label for
pointers,
that.
not dull pointers. So I've done a bit about that.
Okay. Well, do you want to talk through yours, and I will pepper in my interesting animals, which this will work out really well, because a lot of mine are not mammals, because I found the mammal teeth the most boring. And I've got loads of them.
I'm intrigued to see if baleen comes into this.
Baleen. It kind of does. In fact, why don't we start there? Where's my guy? Okay, yeah, all right. Then I'll start with this guy, because this was one of my favourite ones. Let me get a picture up of this guy that I can share with you. So my first animal with wicked teeth is the crab-eater seal.
I know these teeth.
They're really cool, aren't they, Ron?
Now,
I'll find an image to
Bec,
show
I don't
you.
know if you know this about Laura, but be prepared for a list of all fucking mammals. She just doesn't know what a mammal is. Literally, number one is a mammal.
Okay, but I said there weren't many mammals, but this one is cool. So, Bec, can you see that? Have I shared that? Okay. So this
so
is a
pretty.
crab-eater seal's teeth. Do you want to describe them for the listener? I will put all these on Instagram.
Yeah, they almost look like if Maori tribal art was to be turned into a tooth. They're sort of wavy, or almost like how you would draw a fire, or that sort of Japanese art of waves kind of thing. It's hard to explain. They are triangular, but with lots of little little bits coming off.
Yes, like a crude drawing of a fire. So this is the crab-eater seal, which, contrary to its name, does not really live off crabs. The teeth are sort of wiggly shaped and they're interlocked so that they can filter krill like a whale's baleen.
Ah.
So they, because they have been seen eating crabs, they do eat crabs and cephalopods, which is presumably how they got their name, is because that's what we can see them eat. But then obviously, as we've understood ocean life more and more, we've realised that krill is about 90% of their diet. And it's such a nutrient-rich food and not something that's targeted by other seals living in Antarctica that crab-eater seals are, I think, the most abundant. They're definitely the most abundant seal. There's at least 7 million in Antarctica, and they're trying to get a better census done.
Wow.
And there are estimates that there could be up to 50 million of them,
Whoa.
which would make them the most abundant large mammal on Earth, largely down to these awesome little teeth that are all wiggly-piggly together and filter the krill for them, but also allow them to eat cephalopods.
Filter the krill is also just a great thing to say.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be quite cool to, you can have your teeth shaved down, have them shaved into the shape like a crab-eater seal.
Yes. I feel like that would somewhat get towards the core of your tooth, but yes, they are incredible.
They'd be terribly unusable, but Ron, if I had a pet crab-eater seal and their teeth came out, would you let me keep those to make a necklace?
Yeah, that would be fine.
Okay.
That would be pretty cowabunga, I think. They've got a vibe to them.
Wicked. Okay, continue, Ron.
Thank you. Mammals. They have not only very, very different teeth, but also very, very unique teeth. So most mammals can actually be identified just by looking at their teeth, which does several interesting things. It means that we can tell a lot about them from their diet and stuff by looking at the teeth, because we can usually work out what the functions of them are. It also means that our fossil record for mammals is great, because you can just find one tooth and be like, okay, cool, an elephant lived here or something. The interesting thing about it is that it's a very, very old thing in mammals. So theraspids is the group that mammals belong to. There used to be other theraspids, and the precursors to mammals were also theraspids. All of the other ones have died out, apart from mammals. But they had this as well. So it goes back a long, long time to a geological era called the Permian. So this is pre sort of the age of the dinosaurs, which is usually thought as the Mesozoic, the Triassic, the Jurassic, and the Cretaceous. This is the era before that.
The land before time.
The land before time, but the land before the land before time, before the long necks and
you're correct.
and the sharp teeth. So this is 300 to 250 million years ago.
Whoa.
I was looking up what was going on at this time. It's when the first conifers evolved. So no Christmas trees before the Permian. And it's when metamorphosis in insects first happened. So no butterflies or moths before this point either.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So they were doing that, Christmas trees and butterflies. We were getting our teeth. I did look into a bit about sort of the history of teeth in general, but as I said...
Hang on though, Ron. I've got an animal that we could quickly discuss here, because
Fire away.
It fits in with your time frame. The lamprey eel. Which I will get up to show you. So this one, Bec, this is right up your street, because the lamprey eel has inspired quite a lot of sci-fi stuff.
Yes.
Let me share my screen with you. This is the lamprey eel's mouth.
Oh, okay. So for the listeners, it looks like something from Stranger Things.
Yes, it is. It's very, so it's got concentric rings of teeth, and they are disgusting, and obviously the lamprey eel is long and thin, and so it's kind of the stuff of nightmares, like this big mouth coming towards. I think it's inspired, it said in one of the websites I was looking at, it's inspired, is it the bit in Star Wars where they're throwing things into the pit?
The Sarlacc pit.
Yes.
That thing.
Yeah, there is something a bit like that, or graboids with Kevin Bacon, if you remember that. I haven't seen Dune, but I suspect the big worms in that are similar. I don't know.
Yeah. So the reason I'm interjecting here, Ron, is because the lamprey eel split off in its evolutionary chain before the development of bone. So the teeth in the lamprey eel are keratin, same as our fingers and hair, because lampreys are older than the dinosaurs. So possibly from a similar sort of time frame to what we're talking about now.
Yeah, I think a bit before. So the that means that they probably split off around the Cambrian explosion.
Ooh, okay.
Do we know what this is? Do I need to explain?
No. Yes.
So the Cambrian explosion happened. Well, the Cambrian was a period from about 540 to 490 million years ago, and this is where, like, basically just kind of shit started actually happening. So before that, life was very, very simple, not loads of big things, and not that many different types of things. We think this is 500 million years ago, so it's actually quite hard to tell. We've been discussing fossils recently, Laura. Why do we not have many fossils of early life?
2 reasons. 1, no bones. 2, lots of geological movement since, because of the length of time there's been, so fossils get lost.
Absolutely. So the Cambrian is when that sort of stopped being a thing. This is where trilobites come from. You know, the guys that look like real kind
guys?
of... no, they look like super punk wood lice.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing, Ron, but it's a bad impression.
What's this?
That's the little...
They look a little bit
feet
like
thing.
slaters, don't they?
Slaters?
You don't get slaters over here?
What's a slater?
It's an insect that now I'm like, wait, did I make this up? I'm doing slaters. Insects.
Oh, they do look like slaters. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's coming up under wood lice. So there you go. Probably the same thing.
When I've googled slaters, though, it looks like very luxe wood lice. Like they've just got a bit of trim to them, a bit of joie de vivre. Yeah, so the Cambrian explosion happened then. This is when, there was seemingly just a huge diversification, but then also increase in biomass everywhere. So we've just got shed loads of fossils from there. And this is also where the origins of teeth come from. So because the first vertebrates arise in this time, and basically the start of every group of animals that we have around today can basically trace back to this period of Earth's history.
Okay.
The earliest vertebrates did not have teeth themselves. They were sort of slimy fish. Very, very simple creatures. They actually had no mineralized
dry fish.
Well, I don't really know what they were like on the outside, but they didn't have scales yet. So they had no mineralized tissue at all. Yeah, just fleshy fish. That's where the teeth go back to. But then
Did other animals grow teeth so that they could eat the animals with, like, if the first vertebrates didn't have teeth, but then the animals that would have eaten them would have needed a way of crunching them down, eh?
I'm going to level with you. I was reading like a big book about this morning, but then I ran out of pages I could look at for free. So I don't know. That's as far as I got on the evolution of teeth.
It's a hypothetical.
It sounds about right to me. But this was like 200 million years before the whole mammal thing kicks off. So by then we've got, the sharp pointers aforementioned that lizards have. And then mammals decide that that's not good enough for them. They're going to really kick it up a notch. Can anyone hazard a guess as to why?
Was I close with my other thing? Is it to do with them starting to eat more like protein-rich stuff?
Is it the opposite? Is it herbivorousness?
No, it's actually kind of both. So by having being able to diversify their teeth, it means that mammals were able to fill a hell of a lot more niches than other stuff. Because there's only so many jobs that, like, if you have a mouthful of the same thing that you can do, whereas if you have like humans are omnivorous, like we can eat vegetation and we can eat meat because we have teeth to handle both situations.
Yes.
The thing that
With
drove
the Swiss
mammals...
Army knife of mouths.
Exactly.
Hang on a minute, Ron. I'm gonna interrupt you with some very specialised teeth.
Hit me.
We're gonna jump off the mammal train and onto the fish train. We're gonna look at the dragonfish. Look at this, lad. Isn't this horrific?
Yeah, it looks like it looks like it's from Aliens. It also looks a little bit like if a bat was possessed by a demon.
Yeah. Yeah, it is really, really gross. Now, this is a dragonfish. It lives below the light in the ocean. So I think it was about 500 meters below sea level. So super, 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 super dark. They have teeth that in structure are similar like human teeth in that they have an inner dentin layer that's very dense, surrounded by a sort of enamel layer on the outside. But researchers started doing research into these teeth and found some really fascinating stuff. So inside the teeth of the outer layer, they have these really tiny nanocrystals that prevent light from reflecting off the teeth's surface, so that the teeth don't show up in the darkness of the deep ocean, because a lot of the prey of the dragonfish are phosphorescent fish that are giving off their own light. So these teeth don't reflect that, and it helps the dragonfish eat them. The teeth are also thinner, which helps them scatter less light and appear more translucent. And also the stomach of these fish and the mouth is completely black, so that when they're digesting and eating these glowing fish, it doesn't give the game away and other fish can't see it being digested inside this fish.
That's very, very cool. Why are they called
dragonfish? So if you're a
dragonfish?
fish down there, you're just swimming along, and the next thing you know, you've been eaten.
Yeah, you don't see this guy coming at all.
Whoa.
I don't know why they're called dragonfish. They kind of look a bit dragony, I guess.
Hard life for the
I did see
dragonfish,
in some
though.
pictures, some of them seem to have fins that come out like wings.
It just feels like nobody down there would know about their super high-tech teeth. It must be kind of upsetting. Oh, they are a bit dragony when they're still in the water. Anywho, back to mammals, not fish. So the Swiss Army knife teeth, so that they can fill lots of different niches. The reason, one of the things that sort of drove them to do that is something that's not unique to mammals, but something that makes us very, very special, is the fact that we're warm-blooded.
Okay.
So endothermy, it's called. This basically means that we can live in more habitats than things. We can live on the poles and stuff. We can live in different climates, live underground because we can make our own heat. Also very good at being nocturnal. Lizards and stuff, not very good at doing that. So that also, that kind of has a double effect. One, very high energy cost for making all that heat. We have to burn a lot of calories keeping warm. But also, by then flying around at night and stuff, we then are open to a lot more different niches and stuff, and therefore then need to specialise our teeth to deal with all of these different things. Having these crazy teeth essentially means that we can increase the quantity, quality, and digestibility of all of the different foods.
Because the more you can mush it down, the easier it is on your stomach and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that mushing then means you could get more calories out of it, because then, you're not just passing more calories and you're not spending more calories digesting it inside you.
So if a cow spent more time evolving its teeth, it wouldn't have had to evolve 4 stomachs or whatever it is, one stomach with 4 sections.
Well, cows are mammals, so they do have specialised teeth.
Cows are mammals.
Cows are mammals, yeah.
Another episode of Is It a Mammal?
We could do like 10 episodes.
I just don't get it though. Does it have hair? Yes. Mammal.
But then there's loads of rules
Such
that
as?
are broken, because there's always a weird one. Like, what are they called? I can't think of the word.
Dolphins?
All I can think of
Whales?
is quesadilla.
Dolphins, yeah.
Yeah, like they're mammals, aren't they?
They are mammals. Warm-blooded mammal. Air-breathing.
How do I know that they're warm-blooded? I had
Some
a dream last night
things
that
you
I
just
was
have
on
to
a
remember.
train that was driving along at the same speed as some orcas that were next to it. And I met Taylor Swift. I had the raddest dream in the world last night.
Yeah, it was entirely about mammals.
Taylor Swift's got very specialised teeth as well. What was I saying?
Probably caps.
Yeah, it's still
Americans.
specialised.
Yeah, that's true. Do you want to hear about a fish that's got a mammal's name?
Yep.
The sheep's head fish. This is that fish where there's a very funny meme that's like, why does this fish look British? I don't know if you've ever seen this one. Let me find this guy. Here he is. Let's share this one with you. This is the sheep's head fish. And it's got peculiarly human-looking teeth. They really look like human front teeth, don't they?
They really do, to the point that I've immediately gone to Snopes to double check. But it does appear that they are correct, yeah. That's how much they look like human teeth. I would buy these. If anyone has any sheep's head teeth, I would buy these. Wow, their teeth is better than mine in this picture.
Yeah, I mean, I would pay to have teeth that straight. So the front ones, they really look like our front teeth, and then they have rows and rows and rows of teeth. Like in this picture, you can see them in the base and roof of the mouth.
Like
so
flatter molars.
Yeah, they lose as they lose the teeth. The new teeth shuffle forward, which is like sharks, I think, do that. Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the teeth, they don't start out as hard as this when the sharks are growing and developing, but they get harder and harder as the fish age to help them, because they have a diet of shelled fish, mollusks and barnacles and stuff like that is what they eat. So they need pretty solid teeth that can replace themselves as they break and fall out.
I don't know if they look like sheep, though.
No, I don't think they look like sheep, but maybe sheep have teeth kind of like that.
I was going to say, don't sheep have similar teeth? That would make sense as to why it's a sheep's head.
Oh, yeah. I guess they do kind of look like sheep teeth.
Yeah, just have.
Ugh, does sheep not have teeth on the top?
No, they don't. That's why sheep can't bite you. They just have like a firm ridge. That's why like children often go to petting zoos and feed teeth, because they can't bite you.
Feed sheep
teeth.
You know,
What did you say?
You said feed teeth, but I think you meant feed sheep, right?
Yeah. No, you've never been to a tooth farm and fed the teeth?
Do you remember that book we had when we were kids, Laura? And it was like about the tooth fairy, and then she
made a castle out of teeth.
she made the castle out of the teeth, but then
Yeah.
the kids started selling her sweet corn that had been painted white, and then the
Yeah.
castle fell down.
Yeah, I do remember that book.
Imagine if you had, like, if your teeth were like sweet corn. Oh, mushy. I had sweet corn for dinner last night. The sheep head teeth, the sheep head fish reminds me of the bumphead parrotfish.
The parrotfish is on my list, Bec.
Ah, yes. I've done a talk about the bumphead parrotfish for a Ugly Animals Preservation Society gig, because they are endangered from overfishing. But yeah,
Yeah.
they look like a game show host.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you can join me when we get to... Oh, we can do parrotfish now if you like.
I don't think there's going to be a better segue than them
Let's
literally
do it
getting
then.
brought up.
Yeah, so the parrotfish is completely on my list, and I've got tons about the parrotfish because I found a very scientific page about it. So let me open this and share it with you, and then we can have a look at this. So this is from the Smithsonian website. Looking at parrotfish. Oh, I've got so many tabs open, lads. Where's me parrotfish? Well, that's not what I wanted, is it? Hold up. Tough teeth and parrotfish poop. Here we go. So, yes, because parrotfish eat coral.
Yes.
So lots of sand is actually parrotfish poop.
Yeah, exactly. If you're on a nice beach with some lovely, lovely sand, most of it's been ground down by parrotfish.
Yeah, this is a parrotfish. Go away, little tab. I don't want you. Okay, so yeah, this is the parrotfish. I'll leave this image up here. No! Stop! Anyway, it's got an annoying tab on it, but there you go. So they eat coral, and they sort of munch the coral down, poop out sand. They also eat algae on the coral as well, so they are very good for coral reef ecosystems. And they poop out sand. One large parrotfish can produce 450 kilos of sand in a year, which is roughly the weight of a baby grand piano.
Whoa. What a weird measurement for sand.
Yeah.
Couldn't find anything. That's such a privileged analogy.
Yeah.
Yes, it's almost like the size of a baby grand piano.
Which we're all very familiar with.
Yeah, that's something that a sheephead fish would say.
Yeah. Have you ever seen two grand pianos fucking, though? It is insane.
Wow.
Very loud, yeah.
Bec, you're excluded from this guessing game because you've studied them before. But Ron, do you want to guess how many teeth a parrotfish has?
I think it's just two. Just those big shiners are up at the front.
1,000.
That seems very convenient.
Like roughly 1,000 teeth, says lined up in 15 rows and cemented together to form the beak structure, which they like bite into the coral, and then they wear out and fall onto the ocean floor, and then more teeth come through. But
more
Ron,
teeth.
So maybe you need to do some diving to find these teeth on the ocean floor, Bec.
Yeah. Well, or just, I was going to say get some sand, but that's not the same thing, is it?
That's poop.
Yeah.
You
That
could
is
collect
poop.
poop too. I think people would post you their poop.
You could be the poop fairy.
I could buy it, yeah.
Please don't. Please don't. I don't want this to be the start of that phase
There
of your
is
life.
a poop fairy. It's just no one's willing to put their poo under their pillow to see if it's changed.
Gillian McKeith sneaks in through the window.
So, the biophysicist Dr. Pooper Gilbert, segue, found when they looked into the composition of parrot teeth, their actual intricate crystal structure. Ooh. So, let me find the page, because this bit looked really cool. So, I don't know if you can see that. I don't know why this pop-up won't go away. But basically, they...
it looks like a pattern that you would see on a T-shirt at a rave.
Yeah, almost like a magic eye pattern, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this was, they did PIC mapping. So parrotfish teeth are made of a material called fluoropaitite, which is contains calcium, fluorine, phosphorus and oxygen, and is the second hardest biomineral in the world.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What's the hardest?
Scores a 5 on the Mohs hardness scale, making their teeth harder than copper, silver and gold. no biomineral in the world is stiffer than the tips of parrotfish teeth. They can withstand a lot of pressure. 1 square inch of parrotfish teeth can tolerate 530 tons of pressure, which is the equivalent to the weight of about 88 elephants.
Whoa.
Slightly less privileged.
Why don't we have that? Why do we have crappy teeth that break?
Because we don't eat coral. Our grandparents did not have the foresight to start eating coral.
We should start that now so that in the future, our children's children will have nice, strong teeth.
All right. Well, yeah. Anybody that's planning on breeding out there, get munching on coral.
I had a quick look for what has the hardest
Ron,
biomineral.
I know that it's a spectrum, Ron. I know that they won't just pass teeth down to their children, but you've got to start somewhere.
No. Biting coral doesn't make your teeth harder. You need to pick the kids with the hardest teeth.
What, and get them to eat coral?
No, get them to fuck.
Right, yeah. Kids? Can you at least wait till they're adults? Jeez. You heard it here first, folks. I had a quick look into what the hardest biomineral is.
I think Ron's been doing that too because he went very quiet for a while. Go for it, Bec. What's the hardest biomineral?
No, I want Ron to say it because he'll probably... I'm just guessing from what I found.
No, please, you're the guest. Why don't you go ahead? I don't think I can pronounce this word.
You can't spell guest without guess.
Yeah, because it's... So it's a class of marine mollusk that creates the hardest biomineral of any animal.
Ooh,
they have abrasion-resistant, self-sharpening teeth. But it's spelled Chitons. It could be chitons, but I think it might be shitons.
Nice.
Chitons? Tell you what, these guys look like slaters.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to shit on their teeth.
Sand might come out. Okay, well, they've got the hardest teeth, but...
Shit on, shit out.
That's how they become karate masters deep under the sea. This doctor, whose name I've forgotten, Dr. Gilbert, they
Great name.
developed a tool to have a look at the crystal structure of the parrotfish teeth and take pictures of the crystals, and it sort of color codes to look so that's the images that we're looking at now currently, and again I'll put this on Instagram. So that's what you're looking at with the color coding there. Each color is a different crystal formation, and the structure of parrot teeth was unique. They'd never seen this before. The crystals are in interwoven bundles that form a chainmail pattern.
Wow.
And the specific structure is something that they're using to try and create more abrasion resistant moving parts in manufacturing. So they're actually copying parrot teeth in order to improve the wear and tear and life of different inventions.
That's so human, just to look at nature and steal the best inventions. And I think
that's
you are
how
right,
we got
Ron.
where we are, baby.
I believe it is chitons.
I
That's
like
funny
shit-ons.
though. Yeah.
This one's called the
feel
Chiton
like-
squamosus. That's fun.
I feel like someone called Shiton was the person who was like, nah, it's pronounced chiton.
Yeah.
It's like a Mrs. Bucket. type
Yeah.
of deal, Okay.
So, back to mammals. Neither parrots nor fish are mammals. But mammals, most of them are diphyodonts. This is the word for having baby teeth and then adult teeth, 2 sets. Di as in 2. Weirdly, did you know that the proper word for baby teeth is deciduous teeth? Like deciduous trees that lose their leaves.
I did not know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But there are some mammals that are polyphyodonts. These include elephants, kangaroos, and manatees. So they will just continuously grow teeth.
Oh.
And then to round off the stuff that I did, I've just got a couple of shout outs to some weird mammals that do it slightly differently. Rabbits, they often, or lagomorphs, they often shed their deciduous teeth before they're born.
Wow.
And then
hell is so is that like...
Why do they even have them in the first place?
Yeah.
Don't know.
Is that just like an evolutionary thing that they now don't need but haven't got rid of in the...
Yeah, like vestigial teeth, essentially.
So do they all stay in the womb, or do they come out in the birthing?
Well, I don't know, but I just imagine, like, if you... Because people have rabbits as pets, and if they were, like, you know, if a little baby rabbit fell out plus twice as many teeth every time, that you'd think people would notice.
They're pretty small when they're born, though. I bet you barely even notice. I bet they're like teeny, not even grains of sand kind of thing.
I've held like an hour-old rabbit, and they're teeny tiny, and rabbits like have them in like a hay hutch thing. So I think the average person, you'd have to like clean out all the hay and like looking for a tooth needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
Other shout out to elephants. So elephants' tusks are actually specialised in sizes. Those are the flat slicer guys at the front of your mouth. Which I thought was
canines?
Interesting. No, you'd
like
think,
tusks
right?
And canines would have more in common.
Yeah. Elephants are polyphyodonts, aka keep on growing teeth. They have teeth very similar to manatees, and it's said that elephants are believed to have gone an aquatic phase of their evolution.
Oh.
Yeah, that seems to track. I feel, but how? Obviously, they're not used for eating now. So it's
digging up food
how...
and fighting, apparently.
Yeah, like you can ease up tree roots and stuff, I guess, can't you? Find tubers.
And then the last one was just rodents whose teeth just continuously grow because they just wear them down at the top, which is why you have to let your pet rats and stuff chew stuff, because otherwise they will, to take this full circle, Lisa Simpson, grow the teeth straight through their own heads.
Well, and what a segue into my next animal, which is the babirusa, or deer pig. Let me find this guy for you. And sharzy, because this guy has that stuff going on. Babirusa. This is the deer pig, or babirusa. And I got my information here from the San Diego Zoo website, which when it was written as sandiegozoo.com, I was reading as San Diego, and then it was only when I clicked on it, I was like, oh my God, you're an idiot, San Diego. So they have these tusk teeth. You see the ones in the bottom of the jaw, pretty standard tusk kind of teeth.
Yeah,
but then
they're kind of what you'd imagine from like a warthog or something.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Then, can you see that there's a second set?
Yeah.
Now this is where this deer pig thing is weird. Those are actually top canines, which start growing down, fang style, then they turn around and grow back up, and if not ground down, poing through the snout, as seen on this one that we're looking at now. You can see they have pierced through the face of the pig. And if not ground down at that stage, they can just keep growing back into the skull of the pig.
That feels like an evolutionary failure. How do these animals still exist?
I guess enough of them are grinding them down enough that it's not killing them, that this is happening. Because I think...
They seem fine when it happens. They don't seem that bothered. They're still big fat lads.
Yeah, I guess they're all content with these piercings, same as we're content with our ear piercings and whatnot. So they can get I think they're quite brittle, these teeth, so they do get snapped off in fights sometimes, or they do grind down fairly regularly. But I think they're not entirely sure why they have these teeth like this. So there was a hypothesis that they use them for fighting, or that these grow up as sort of face protection during fighting. But then once they started to observe them fighting and study that, they don't fight with their tusks. They stand up on their back legs and like box with their feet. little fighting pigs having a little like squabble.
That's very cute.
Yeah. So they're not entirely sure why these teeth. Like I think the leading hypothesis at the moment is that it's like a bird of paradise sitch. You know, like the bigger your teeth, the better you're doing.
I hate them.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very weird. I find it interesting when animals display physical traits which seem to be counterintuitive.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You're like, surely this should have killed you off. But actually,
sometimes that's the point, though, especially if they have sexual selection, because then it becomes a thing of, like you say, like, look how big my teeth are. I've actually grown teeth through my own head, and I'm still alive and cool. So I'd probably be a good father to your children, is maybe what the pigs are trying to say with their hideous teeth.
And sort of horrible faces.
Yeah, it's kind of like how people get their face pierced.
Yeah. Now, do you remember that phase, Bec? We're the same age, where people would get their cheeks pierced and have like spaces in their cheeks,
piercings,
so that they had like holes in their mouths, basically. Horrible.
Yeah, I mean it's the same with lip piercings, isn't it? Anything.
Yeah, but
like
they put the stretchers in them so that.
Oh no, I don't. No, I feel like I would just end up drooling all over my pillow if I had gauges in my cheeks.
It caused loads of tooth problems because obviously your teeth were exposed all the time and you had to drink through a straw because you couldn't.
I remember my dentist telling me when it was a very big phase of. I mean, I know it's still a thing, but I remember when bottom lip piercings became very, very popular when I was in high school, and my dentist being like, "Don't you go get a lip piercing," because the other side of it would. They were saying, loads of dentists were saying that it would rub up against the inside, the bottom incisors, and wear them down.
Yeah. Well, a good dentist you have.
Is it that weird that an animal does this when we as humans will actively choose to do things like that to ourselves?
Yeah, yeah. It is all about that like differentiating, isn't it? That's not a word. Right, how many animals have I got left? I've got quite a few, so I'll race through a couple of them, and then I've saved one for last that's a bit different. So I've got some more sea creatures. The sea urchin. So sea urchins have a pyramid-shaped structure made of calcium carbonate, which is basically I think what coral is made of. The pyramid is made of several triangle-shaped plates, and each one has like a hook on the end, which is the tooth. And then the pyramid can move up and down and tilt and scrape things.
Ooh.
Oh, hello, baby. And grasp and burrow and sort of chew up bits of rock. And when these plates are sort of moving against each other, they're sharpening each other as they go.
Wow.
Which is kind of cool. And the proper name for the urchin's biological claw is Aristotle's lantern.
Interesting. I mean, looking at them, I wouldn't have, unless Aristotle's lantern was like a euphemism for his butthole. They look like buttholes with teeth. I imagine it's kind of like the animal version of. Do you see those ads on the tube for like? It's like a shaver. A handheld shaver for bald men who want to just go all over. That's kind of what I imagine how these teeth work. Is that they'll just grab anything at any angle.
Yeah, a little epilator.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they're very, very powerful though. They've got quite strong jaws, I think, and sea urchins can like absolutely cane through a forest of sea kelp apparently. So they're quite efficient. Yes, Ron?
I was just going to say, I think because they just eat the base of it and then the kelp floats away, which is why they fuck it up. Yeah.
Then I liked the cookie cutter shark. So the cookie cutter shark was
adorable.
only discovered when people started doing diving and going down with sonar equipment, and then it was coming up full of holes because the cookie cutter shark basically clamps on with its top teeth and then spins around using its bottom teeth to like nom 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 nom, and then moves back with leaving a perfect circle of flesh missing, or rubber seal, or whatever it is that it's clomped onto. So
like
they live.
cutter.
Yeah.
A round cookie cutter. Wow.
Yeah. It like lives really deep, waits for a big ocean dweller, like a big mammal, clomps on, eats a little circle of flesh, and then clomps off again. So doesn't like finish eating anything, just kind of clomps on, chomps a circle out of you, and then sods off again.
I mean, I suppose if you were going to get eaten, I guess that's the preference, isn't it?
Yeah. It always makes me think of like in the Russian army, or is it the German army trying to invade Russia, where they had to eat their horses, and it was so cold that they would slice bits off the back of their horse, and the horse didn't notice because it was
the
so
horse
anaesthetised.
100% noticed. I suppose if it's freezing, but you know, there's no way the horse did not know.
I don't understand what niche the cookie cutter shark is filling. Like, how is its thing that it eats a small amount of the available food and then leave?
Well, because I guess it's not big enough to fight another animal or to like take on a full animal. But this way, it gets to have some. But the animal continues to live and go on. Maybe even grow some of the skin back. You know, it's probably more sustainable, isn't it? Than
It's
killing
really, it's the green party of animals.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, a sustainable farming method called just take a bite and then walk away.
Yeah. Maybe that's
That
what
feels
we
like
should
a
be
diet
doing.
our parents were definitely on in the 90s.
Yeah, it does. Take a bite and walk away. Yeah, it's why I never kill all my cakes.
Yeah. Okay, my penultimate one, just because I thought this was fascinating and I went down a bit of a rabbit hole researching this. Dromedary camels, they have teeth that can grow up to 3 inches long and have powerful enough jaws to crush a human skull.
Whoa.
Yeah, right?
How did they find that out?
Well, camels have killed loads of people. And because camels are grouchy, if you mistreat camels, like camels are renowned for killing their owners if they are mistreated.
What?
They will snap
Whoa.
and just bite their heads off or bite their necks, or they like chomp on the neck and shake the body around, and then they'll like trample or crush the skull with their jaws. And I ended up... I tried to watch some videos, but they'd been taken off the internet, which means that they were super gross.
Wow.
But I found an article about a camel that had killed its owner, and then local villagers had captured it. And I think it's a translation issue, but there was a line that really amused me where it said, the villagers caught the camel, tied it to a tree, and then to calm the camel, the villagers started beating it with sticks.
Calm. No. That is like the violent equivalent of when someone tells you to calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down. It's like, that's not helping. That is not going to make me calm down. I didn't know that about camels. That's fascinating. I love that. I want to see Ascot, but with I know they do camel racing.
Yes, in Dubai they do camel racing.
I wish Ascot was like that, because then if they like tripped or whatever, then it would actually have to be the rider that gets put down.
Yeah. I believe in camel racing they use robot jockeys. Because
I can
they're lighter.
understand why.
I used to have.
Oh, I thought because they're not going to bite their heads off or something.
Maybe that too, but also the lightness, I believe.
Let's just cut out the middleman and race robots.
Yeah, I bet that's coming. Robot wars, robot races. But which gender are they?
I mean,
that's
what
the real
is
problem,
Formula One,
it,
if not robot races, but with human riders?
Yes. Isn't that Cars?
That's what I meant.
Oh. Excuse me. That's the joke. Okay, guys, are you ready for my final set of weird teeth?
Yes.
I've saved the weirdest for last, and this is my only extinct animal. This is Helicoprion.
I know the boy.
So, do you want to describe this, Bec?
Yeah, you've basically shown... if you were to ask AI to draw a shark with a bit of a zebra mixed with like a circular saw, a bench saw, is that what they're called? Like some high-powered tools.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at here.
That is exactly what we've got here. So this is Helicoprion, or the chainsaw shark, which is extinct. My information comes from scientificamerican.com. So the Helicoprion, it basically does have, like, it looks like a buzzsaw. It looks exactly like a
Buzzsaw, that's what I'm thinking of.
It was actually one humongous tooth with dozens of visible crowns coming out of one continuous root.
Wow.
Sticking out like that in this big circle in its mouth. The first fossil finds were made in the 19th century, and they were shaped like the remains of ammonoids, the sort of spiral things. I think I can picture what that means. But it had studs along the spiral, and nobody quite knew where this went. There were lots of theories about where this feature must go in a shark, like what is this from, what's it doing? And then in the past decade, researchers were doing CT analysis of fossils and found evidence for the connective cartilage way down that showed the way this was actually situated. One of the scientists speaking said the thing that was so confusing about Helicoprion was that the tooth whorl was a midline structure, so it was like a pizza cutter stuck in a quart of ice cream in the middle of the shark's lower jaw. And what do you think this tooth developed for? What do you think the shark ate with this?
Did the science give that analogy of a pizza cutter in a tub of ice cream?
Yeah.
Why a tub of ice cream?
I guess it must be like soft muscle or something that
Either that or they were just looking around their kitchen.
They did this interview hungry in the kitchen.
You were asking me a question.
What do you think this, not a shark, because it technically isn't a shark, what do you think it used this tooth for? Ron, any ideas?
Seaweed.
Interesting. Bec?
Probably like just doing some underwater landscaping, hey? Just like, I don't know, some seaweed topiary.
Shaping hedges into the shape of trains. No, it's actually, this tooth in this shape like this was actually like a snail fork. It was used for being able to very successfully pull mollusks out of their shells. So I guess it would get a bit of it stuck on the end, and then it could sort of twist back.
Conveyor it towards its gullet.
Scoop it out of its shell.
Clever.
Yeah. Isn't that wild? So, yes, likened the tooth to a snail fork, but the size of a large dinner plate or even a bicycle wheel, and embedded in a sharky beast at least 20 and perhaps 30 feet long.
With things like this, I always end up thinking, like, at what point are we going to realise we're wrong?
Yeah.
With these sorts of fossils and stuff. Because I feel like there's a lot of conclusions that are drawn from fossils that we've all just taken as fact. I was at the Natural History Museum recently, and I was looking at, they were showing castings of fossils and how they work out what a dinosaur looked like from those fossils and stuff. But a lot of it is guesswork, where they've just kind of put together the pieces and been like, pretty sure this is what it is. Yeah. I know that sometimes you get like a full skeleton and it's like, well, that's very useful. But with others, like with this, I found a lot of the fossils that came up when I looked up were like just of the teeth. And I can't help but feel like, how do we know this wasn't just a giant snail with like an interesting like shell? I'm sure that they do know. I know that there's smarter people than me out there.
That's how I feel every time I ask a question. I'm like, you're missing so many of the pieces that they've had to put it together. But I think in this case, like, there was a bit how they were saying this technically isn't a shark, and it's because of the way they've worked out that this tooth was attached to the skull, and sharks don't have that. So this animal actually like branched off before sharks branched off, so it isn't a shark. Or it was part of a branch that didn't go on to become sharks or something like that. But Yeah, I think a lot of it, Ron, isn't it, is comparing it to things that we definitely know how it works and therefore making the best educated guess.
Yeah, it's all educated guesses in the fossil record, basically. There's some cool stuff that you can do, like ion analysis of tooth fossils, and then that will basically have traces of what they were eating, and then you can work out if they were carnivores and stuff. Like, there is some empirical science, but when it comes to assembling them, yeah, it's a lot of this looks like the bone from this thing, and we know what that thing looks like, so this was probably the same.
Yeah.
Well, that is fascinating.
Well, thank you so much, Bec Hill, for coming to celebrate 2 whole years completed in the Lexx Education schoolroom.
Our cotton
Congratulations
anniversary.
on lasting 2 full years.
Yeah, we're very proud of ourselves. We have been nothing if not consistent.
Yes.
We have literally been nothing except consistent. Anyway, do you want to tell us the name of your podcast so that listeners can go and find it? I expect they already listen, but you can have one of our 2 listeners if you like.
Oh, yeah. You can hear Matt Parker and I on A Problem Squared. If you're done with learning things, and actually maybe actively want to unlearn things, I have a hate watch podcast of Emily in Paris called Enemy in Paris, where Sam Kiefer, a sound engineer from LA, and I are rewatching all of Emily in Paris and tearing it to pieces. We've had some pretty great guests on, so check it out.
Love it. Thank you so much, Bec Hill.
Thanks
and
for
listeners,
having me.
thank you for listening. We don't hope you love us on this episode. We love you.
Year dismissed.
2nd year dismissed.
Yay! School's out! Woo!